TIAA is on a mission. Why? Because 54% of Black Americans don't have enough savings to retire. So in collaboration with big-name artists like Wyclef Jean, TIAA released Paper Right, new music inspiring a new financial future. With 100% of streaming sales going to a nonprofit that teaches students how to invest. Stream Paper Right now and help close the gap.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, and with me, as always, is
Sesame and Carta Lance.
So you've lengthened your name now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know I've asked you this before, but do you have to change this legally every week?
Used to. But then it just cost too much money, so I just it's more of just like a personal name change, at this point. Yeah, after about the 45th time or so, it was like, okay, I'm spending a lot of money on this, and could be put to a much better use, as investing or starting a business or moving to a different location, whatever. I'm just sitting there just changing my name all the time. It's not feasible.
Yeah, I would recommend people go check out our Patreon and give us some money so Matt can, be reimbursed for changing his name for your enjoyment every week.
Exactly. I mean, I think it's only fair, but
yeah, it does. I mean, it's very fair. I would totally enjoy it if my favorite podcast host changed his name every week.
Yeah, like Mark Maron every single week changed it to like Mike Marine. Mike Marine. I like that. That's a good that's like a really good bad movie title. Mike Marine.
He's like he's like an Aquaman wannabe.
Yeah. It's like a really low budget Mike Marine. You should start writing that.
Yes. If you want us to write that, that's another reason you should go check our Patreon out.
Yeah, so like here's that. Well, it's like we'll like take requests, like exclusive content. So it's like, here's how we rope you in. Like, all right, well, this is the free shit we give you, but if you want something special, we'll work on that. But you're gonna have to like give us like $1,000 to do it. So,
And I mean, we'll do Mike Marine with a guy who kind of looks like Jason Momoa.
Yeah, like we'll do like in the How I Met Your Father thing. Like we'll just find different like lookalikes. Yeah.
Okay, so anyways, today, speaking of DC superheroes, we are covering the last 2 episodes of Season 8 of DC's Legends of Tomorrow from the CW. The episode 12, we'll jump right in here, folks, is called Too Legit to Quit. It's directed by Sud Sutherland, which is an awesome name.
Yeah.
Written by Morgan Faust and Leah Pouliot. Aired on February 23rd of 2022. What went down in this episode, Sesame?
Well, right after the previous episode, they had they're in like some like they're in John Constantine's pocket dimension, and the robots, the robot legends, I guess, found their way there. They threw him into hell, basically. But Robo Astra somehow made her way back, and then she stabbed Gideon, and it looked like she was going to die or something like that. So then they rushed her to the med bay, and at first the evil Gideon, or whatever version of Gideon she was gonna kill them all, but then human Gideon told them to remember a certain protocol number or whatever. So then they just went and recited it. And
Protocol 276.
Which I wonder if there's if there's anything symbolic for that or not, but not sure.
Probably not. Probably just random numbers.
Well, I didn't know if it would be like a secret code. I don't know. And then so that basically means that Gideon can't harm herself. And since that's a human version of Gideon, there's a stalemate. Can't do anything now, as long as Gideon's on the ship, and then she needs to heal with all the fancy futuristic technology that they have to heal people's wounds and stuff like that in the future. So they basically arguing with each other, like how are we gonna solve this. So human Gideon decides to basically negotiate with the computer Gideon about how they're going to solve this problem, because computer Gideon is hell-bent on killing the legends, because in her mind, or in the AI mind, they're the real aberration, and that her robo legends were like the true legends, because they were just like emotionless and just
more about just doing the job and not caring.
Yeah, and plus too, like whenever any of them would die, she would just make like a new body for and just put the programming in their brain chip or whatever.
Pretty soon that's how corporate America is going to handle things, I think.
Oh, I'm sure of it at some point, yeah. And they're like, oh, it's time to wake up. You can't even oversleep this time, because we'll just like fire your brain up to wake yourself up. So anyway, it's like 1984, man. Like everybody compares everything in 1984, like even if it's not. They're like, oh, that's so 1984. I'm like, no, there is actually nothing like that in 1984.
Then you ask them if they've actually read the book or seen the movie, and they're like,
like, no, man, but 1984, it's left wing. Actually, George Orwell was a socialist, but no, he actually was. He wrote articles about it and everything. Anyway, I don't care about truth. I only care about what Alex Jones tells me while in between his theory of spitting and vomiting and screaming or whatever he does on the show nowadays. Anyway, so blah 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 blah. They come to a terms, like peace terms, and human Gideon says, okay, well, we all have to retire now, basically. So computer Gideon can basically be like the new captain, and she can fix the timeline, I guess, on her own.
Well, I think what it is that human Gideon's going to be the captain, and then computer Gideon's going to be the
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So everyone else has to retire, and they're like, well, can we just do that? Like, and they're like, well, nobody retires from the legends, and they start listing all the people, like, well, like Ray, and the Hawk people, and and all this
Jefferson
stuff.
And other people.
Oh, like so many people, and like Nate's like, yeah, but like legends don't retire in bulk, like all at once, and so
it's the Costco of retirement.
Yeah. So computer Gideon basically like sits everyone down and just shows them like a glimpse of like their future, and like of course it's like stuff that like everyone wants for their future, which is kind of suspicious, but okay. And like Astra becomes a politician who's like running for like the the common man or whatever. Nate wrote like this really long, huge history book about being in the legends, which history's always been like his thing. So like he's like a best-selling author. Ava and Sarah have like a daughter, and they're like at that same camp that they were in season 4, where it was about like the horror monster or whatever. Just kind of an interesting throwback, to that episode, because they were wearing the same blue T-shirt, stuff like that, and everyone pretty much had like quote unquote their happy ending, except for
Gwen.
Gwen and I can't think of her name. Shit, what's her name? She was like
Spooner?
Yeah.
Like
Spooner basically just gets to go back to being with their mom.
Yeah,
that's it. He doesn't really get to be with their friends, and Wynn doesn't get to have Alan. So like,
but they come up with a plan that they make keys so they can all go to that pocket dimension.
Yeah, it's like Astra, or was it Astra or someone else came up? I think Spooner actually came up with the idea.
Yeah.
Which again seems like convenience magic, literally, since she's a magician. And like, oh wow, like Computer Gideon didn't see that coming. Like, oh, one of these people is a magician, and they could just like duplicate shit, like. But again, there's a lot of convenience magic in the last 2 episodes of the show. So, so yeah, what else happens after this? I don't remember too much.
So basically, then we have, Gary stays on the ship then, with his love, Gideon, and the computer Gideon basically ends up ejecting Gary into the time stream and falsely informs Gideon that it was Gary's decision to leave the ship. So that's how we end the episode, with Gary being sent off into the time stream.
Yeah, basically Computer Gideon's been evil this entire time and was just tricking on into, quote, retiring so that she could influence human Gideon to be more. Yeah,
it's like she's evil, but she's also just doing things by the book and logically, and realizes that Gary's a distraction. So
yeah,
in her mind, she's probably not evil, but she's a computer. So,
yeah, she doesn't have any emotions. She's like a narcissist, essentially like a Elon Musk type of person. You know? Anyway,
so then we have our next episode. Do you want to take a quick break and then we'll talk about the next episode?
Sure.
Okay, we'll be right back, folks.
No Outlet Live.
Hey, I'm Jay Remy, host of No Outlet Live. If you're in a podcast that explore any and everything, check us out. We stream anywhere you listen or watch podcasts, or just type No Outlet Live, one word, in your Google search bar to find the show. Live Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Facebook. No Outlet Live, your road to boredom ends here. Do you like Tessa? Do you think this will be a date that can last?
Well, she's not very articulate.
We're good.
And we are back, folks. Back. From the past.
Yeah, we're like
how are you, folks?
Jock radio show at 7 a.m.
Let's play the bells and whistles and
Oh god.
Yeah. So
like I can't believe people like would listen to that stuff. Like I just like stuff like that just makes me sad. Like to hear. Like it's weird. It's like I'm just a weird person. Like overall, right? So like. There was this episode of Community once where Annie is like, she wrote like an anti-drug play.
Yeah.
So like that kid would perform at like a school or whatever. And and Britta's like, like I had to sit through a few of these when I was at school, and I think they actually drove me to doing drugs. And then Annie's like, you don't count, Britta. You don't respond normally to anything. And she's like, thank you. Like, that's literally me. Like, I don't respond. Like, so, like, normally something like that would be like a fun little distraction. Me, I hear that on the radio, and it just like a deep well of sadness. It just tapped in,
well,
like,
it's the cliche aspect of it, though. I think was what it is.
Yeah.
The first
Life
person to
is,
do that is probably unique and different, but then you got like a million morning zoos across the country. That's how it is. But some of them are unique. I mean, like my friend Andrew Z, he was good.
Yeah, then you had Glenn Beck. He used to have like a talking monkey or some shit at one point. Or
Yeah,
you know,
that's different.
I don't know if it was a talking monkey. I think at one point he had a monkey or a chimpanzee. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I wish a chimpanzee would have like ripped his arms off, but whatever. And anyway,
So, anyways, back to the legends here. So speaking of things that should have been knocked down, the name of this episode is "Knocked Down, Knocked Up." And
knocked down, knocked up. I like that.
yeah, and it was directed by Kevin Mock and written by Phil Klemmer and Kido Shimizu. Aired on March 2nd, 2022. Okay, so Gary lands in 30,000 BC. But he's able to return to the manor when he discovers a door or creates a door. And because they need a door to open up with the key.
Yeah, so get it? He makes a door so that it...
He ends up telling the others about Alan being a robot Alan. We forgot to mention that in the last episode, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Alan...
Gideon created, not evil Gideon, but real Gideon actually did this.
Yeah.
Created a robot Alan and didn't tell Gwyn that it was a robot. But Gwyn, of course, discovers it because he's not an idiot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, come on, he was acting all weird and shit.
Yeah.
And, not like a person. And
so they tell him about others about Alan, and then they end up discovering that Gwyn had died at a fixed point in 1916. So at Mammoth's Wood, France, Gary deduces that Sarah is pregnant because of her alien biology. Somehow she got pregnant just from, somehow being with her love. I mean, it's
well, it's because she's a clone now because her original body died when she in like season 6 when she was on that planet.
Yeah,
and which is nothing new because technically she already died in the first place in Arrow, and then her sister put her to the resurrection pit or whatever, Lazarus pit, and then resurrected her, which is weird because they wouldn't do the same thing to Laura. It was almost like they just wanted to kick her off the show, but whatever. Anyway, no matter. And so technically she already did die, and then now her physical body is no more, and then she's a clone now, but she's also got the alien biology mixed in with the human biology, so she looks and acts like a human and feels like a human, although some of her tastes are a little bit different now. Like she was like really obsessed with the milkshakes and shit like that for a while.
Yeah.
And sarsaparilla, I could say it correctly again, sarsaparilla. And we find this out because at the end of the last episode, before Gary gets like shot off into the time stream, Sarah wanted to celebrate them retiring, and she ended up cutting herself on the champagne bottle, like the wrapper or whatever, but the cut didn't heal because part of her thing is that her wounds like heal, like she gets shot in the head and just
and so basically the baby is absorbing all of her powers.
Yeah, because at first she didn't figure out like, well, like maybe because I was thinking at first I was like, well, maybe this is just something happened to the timeline and she's like back to just being like a regular person again, type of thing or whatever. But no, yeah, Gary figures out that all it takes is because like apparently that specific race of aliens like are really big on like having babies, I guess. And like all you need to do is actually like think of having a baby or wanting to have a baby, and like just a little bit of contact from like the other person's DNA. So all they did was kiss, but that was enough apparently. So basically, she's having Ava's child.
Yeah,
like literally.
So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So, anyways, the legends end up traveling to the point before Gwyn's death, but are intercepted by Gideon, who tells them to leave, only to privately find herself conflicted, even after she learns Computer Gideon's lie about Gary. So Astra and Spooner convince her to turn against Computer Gideon so that she disables the Wave Rider's cloaking, making Computer Gideon an anomaly. I can't say those words. So basically, Computer Gideon ends up self-destructing in the temporal zone. And Astra shields the others and reforms the Wave Rider.
Again, which she already did.
Yeah.
Once.
While they're there, they find the fixer from the fixed point there where Gwyn and Alan are.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Mike, played by Donald Faison from Scrubs fame. Gwyn basically states that anyone trying to change the battle would be erased in a time paradox, making Mike feel useless. He destroys Gwyn's time machine and steals the Wave Rider to talk to his superiors. Nate ends up rescuing Alan, but is hit with mustard gas, which makes him lose his steel abilities for some fucking reason.
That was another convenience magic.
Yeah.
Or not magic, but just plot, whatever.
It's like, how can we write out, Nate?
Yeah, because let's see here. He's been in 5,000 years in the future. 10,000 years. He's made of steel. Okay, is there any proof that mustard gas does something to steel? I'm gonna have to look that up actually.
Yeah.
That's the one substance that he was never, whatever,
and it's
subjected to.
It's like, we got to figure out a way to get Nick Zano out of the show, so we're going to do that. So, It
sucks because it's like, okay, so he's been in here since
season 2.
First episode. Yeah, so he's been here almost as long as anyone else. I mean, he's been here longer than Ray was, and Ray was here for his first 4.5 seasons.
Yeah.
And what sucks, though, what scares me is that, at least for me, maybe it's just like how my brain works or whatever, but when someone leaves a TV show, I start to kind of get used to them being gone within a few episodes, and that I don't like that fact that makes me sad actually, because I'm thinking 4.5 seasons of Ray, and then within 5 episodes of Ray being gone, it's he was never there anymore, and I'm I don't like that. That's not
well this show is good at actually filling the voids usually.
Mm-hmm.
So, unlike a lot of shows, because this has had a really huge turnover rate. More than Law and Order or something.
Well, that's how they keep it fresh, I think. But still, it's sad, especially with Nate. Okay, because Nate's literally season 2, episode 1, and he was brought into the team by Oliver Queen. So it's a huge nostalgia thing going on.
Yeah, but like anything, we got to move on. Unfortunately,
No. Don't accept.
It's all about time, my friend. Time.
No. But he'll probably jump in here and there.
Oh, I'm sure.
I was just in the time stone, whatever the totem,
yeah.
Called.
So
yeah.
Anyways, he ends up losing his steel abilities. So Sarah then reveals her pregnancy, and Nate then retires to the Wind Totem, like you said. So they're on the Wave Rider after they steal it back, and Mike returns to the Wave Rider, but he has the Legends arrested by the Time Authority or whatever it is.
And he's also arrested too.
Yeah, he's arrested too. And we learn that he is not Mike. His real name is Booster Gold, which is a famous character in the DC Comics.
That's such a great name, Booster Gold. So basically, he stole the ship because he was mad at his superiors for tricking him, I guess. Is that what it was? Or
and he basically made, the way it appears is that he made a deal with them, so then he's probably going to get out free or something, and then or he will be in there, and the whole thing will be if we get a season 8, which it has not been renewed yet. So
well, that's the thing, and also
we record this.
If we do, I mean, I don't know. It just feels like the Time Bureau all over again. So it's like we're like in a time loop, literally. Like, because Rip created the Time Bureau to basically replace the Legends because we're more almost the Time Bureau is almost like a precursor to computer this versions of Gideon, like just not as cold and calculating because they were still human beings running it, but it was still that kind of like, we're not chaotic like the Legends are. We're gonna run a tight ship, type of thing or whatever. And then the Time Bureau eventually got shut down and then it just became the Legends again. But before the Time Bureau, there was also the Time Masters that the Rip worked for originally, Rip Hunter. You want to talk about like an old, callback right there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they take this. If they do get another season, and I mean, from what I've read, if they do get another season, which I'm really looking forward to, is Donald Faison is joining the cast as one of the Legends. So awesome. It'll probably be like at least the first few episodes will probably be like a Prison Break sort of thing where they're trying to, which is funny. I mean, I'm not talking about the show Prison Break, which 2 of the stars of this show that are no longer on the show used to be on. So
it'd be cool though if Rory does come back on an episode called Prison Break. Yeah, and then he breaks him out of prison. That would be pretty sweet. But,
and somehow we get what's his face back too.
Leonard Snart. Well, he died,
Leonard.
But,
but somehow maybe one of his variants.
Yeah.
But anyways, I really hope that the show continues as you do, and it'd be really cool to see where they take this. I have nothing else to say. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I don't.
All right, well, I really enjoyed this season. I thought it was a good season. I mean, there's some things that they could have done differently, but overall I liked it. If you want us to continue covering the show, hopefully it comes back and let us know. Also, check out our TeePublic, check out our social media accounts, our Facebook, our TikTok, our Twitter, our Instagram, all those good things. Check out our Patreon, as we've mentioned before. Also, check out our TeePublic, buy some shirts. Give us a 5-star review where you can. Most importantly, though, share the show with your friends. If you like what we're doing, or if you don't and you think somebody else might enjoy it, let them know about the show.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, until next time, folks, be good to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Wear clothes.
Yeah.
Stay in your time zone, in your timeline. Don't mess up the time zone, the time paradox or anything. Don't create a time paradox. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Wear a time condom.
If you said time, yeah.
And until next time, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Haas. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.